98 FM's Dublin Talks. Call 6797 981.
And good morning from Adrian Kennedy. How are you this morning? I hope everything is okay with you. Our apologies, by the way, for not being with you on Friday. It's all sorts of, I won't go into the detail, but all sorts of issues. Lots and lots of issues. Technical stuff, sicknesses, just a nightmare. Anyway, our apologies for not being here on Friday, but we're all good to go today and every day this week. So there you go. Anyway, welcome to the programme. Now, what is going on? It is, as I look at my watch here, the 2nd day of November 2020. And Halloween is just behind us. It's just over. But lots of people have taken to social media in the last 24 hours to reveal that they have put up their Christmas tree already to try and get over the COVID blues. As you may or may not know, for many people, the 1st of November marks the official end to Halloween and the beginning of the countdown to Christmas. Now, I get that it's the beginning of the countdown to Christmas, but what is going on? Many people put up their tree and their decorations over the weekend to help them get over the COVID blues. Apparently, putting up your Christmas tree can actually make you happier. Others feel it's way too early and that putting up any sort of decoration so early will just ruin Christmas, dragging it out over 2 whole months. And I would like to find out, what side are you on? Are you one of the many who either has put up the tree or is planning to over the next couple of days? Let's say the next week. If you are, I want to talk to you right now on 6797 981. You can also text, you can WhatsApp, or you can send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. For example, Irish influencer Rosie Connolly has revealed she's already put up her Christmas tree. She took to social media to say that she couldn't wait to put up her Christmas decorations, despite Halloween just finishing up on Saturday. And she shared a photo of the Christmas tree. What is going on? I'd love to hear from you on 6797 981. You can text, you can WhatsApp, or you can send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Have you put up your Christmas tree yet? That's what I want to find out. I mean, listen. It's Christmas time. Well, it's not really. But for some, it actually is. Do you think this is insanity? Or are you somebody who has already put up your Christmas tree? Call me right now on 6797 981 or send me a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Elaine, good morning to you.
Morning.
Elaine, you put up your tree yesterday.
I did yesterday morning, yeah.
Right. Now, is this a normal thing? Would you normally put up your Christmas tree on the 1st of November?
No, never.
No.
I would normally have it up by the toy show night. So maybe a day or two before that.
Right, okay. So the first week in December, maybe, or the last week in November. So you decided to put it up over this weekend. Why?
I just found Halloween was so miserable. Normally I have loads of people around to my house. I have kids knocking at the door all night. I didn't even bother decorating the house for Halloween, and just woke up yesterday morning and thought, right, let's go Christmas then.
Right, okay. So out came the decorations and up went the tree.
No, my husband wasn't happy.
Well, I should imagine, yeah. Now, funny enough, we had a conversation over the weekend about will we put up the tree a little bit earlier than normal. Now, we don't normally put it up until the first week or the second week of December. And we did discuss, should we put it up a little bit earlier than normal, but not this early.
It's made the whole room so comfortable, and it's just made me really happy, to be honest. And I think for the year that's in it, there's no harm having 2 months of Christmas.
Yeah, well, and I think that's one of the reasons that a lot of people are doing it already. It's because of the miserable year we've had, and we've the dark nights. We need something to cheer us up. And your way of cheering things up while we're in this level 5 lockdown-y thing is to put the tree up to feel Christmassy.
Yeah.
And
I love the comfort of it. I love just having no main lights or lamps on at night, just having the telly on the Christmas tree.
And the Christmas tree, right?
And last night, just lying there on the sofa, it was just, I don't know, it just felt real comforting.
And
I didn't think anybody was going to know either, to be honest.
Oh, right. Well, now everybody knows, Elaine. Everybody knows. Whereabouts do you live?
I'm in Crumlin.
You're in Crumlin, right? So everybody in Crumlin, that one tree that you saw, that's Elaine's tree. Have you seen? Well, I actually have. I've seen a few up already.
Well, we posted it on the drag bingo last night, just to let them know what we were up to while we were playing bingo.
Yeah. And
then I put it up on Instagram then after, and my husband was getting loads of messages all night
saying
WTF.
Give
it over.
So what?
Now mine's on to me trying to get me to get the tree out of the attic.
Right, so what did he say? You said he wasn't happy. What did he say?
No, well, I came down yesterday morning and I just said to him, I want to put up the tree today, and he was like, no, that's ridiculous. It's the 1st of November. And I was like, this could be a long day.
But by the end of the day, you won out.
Yeah. No, he just did it straight away, he knew. But by the time we had start putting up the decorations, and he kind of got into it by then.
Okay. And
find an old decoration.
And have you kids?
I have a little boy, Sean.
And how old's Sean?
He's 6, but he's autistic and non-verbal. So as that, he would need time to kind of get used to it as well.
Oh, right, okay. So, yeah, very good. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Christmas has begun in your house in Crumlin, and even though it's hanging, wait, let's just count how many weeks it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5 weeks to Christmas.
Yeah.
Now, I assume it's an artificial tree.
Oh yeah.
That's all right, because if it was a real tree, it would be in bits by the time Christmas comes around. Although can you even buy one this early? A real
we were
tree.
able to go out and get some extra lights and stuff yesterday, and some extra decorations. So we were able to pick up a few extra bits.
Okay, here I've been asked to play this message for you from Dermot. Have a listen to this, Elaine.
Oh, for the love of the baby Jesus. We're starting into a month of this level 5 lockdown, and people are banging up their Christmas trees and their decorations. And what happens if we have a level 4 lockdown in December? You're just going to be destroying your self-esteem and wallowing in self-pity, looking at the busted up Christmas tree, because it will be by then. Second week in December and second week in January, you get them up and get them down. I can understand businesses, but even the poor businesses won't be doing it now till December.
Yeah. But for you, Elaine, it has made the sitting room lovely and Christmassy and cosy and...
Yeah, I love it.
You love it, okay. Right.
As I said, I do think it's more of the girl thing as well.
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out. If there's anybody else who has put up the tree or is even contemplating putting it up over the next couple of days, give us a call on 6797981. Elaine, thanks very much indeed. Let me go to Danielle. Danielle, you're a big Christmas fan.
Yeah.
Love Christmas.
Yeah.
But you've heard Elaine put the tree up yesterday, and I've seen photographs, and it does look very festive. Being a big fan of Christmas, are you thinking of putting up the tree?
Not a hope in hell.
Oh.
No way. It is way, way too early, in my opinion. If it makes somebody happy and it's in their home, off you go. But I'm seeing things on Facebook, and I'm finding myself scrolling quickly past them and not interacting in the comments. I'm a big kid. I love Christmas. I always buy another set of lights or inflatable thing or something extra every year to add to my pile. But I buy a real tree. It'll go up. I just had a quick look. About the 5th of December, I think it's the Saturday. My real tree will go up then. I did buy an artificial one for the kitchen last year. I was contemplating putting that up on the 1st of December, but Christmas to me is December. I love the build-up. I hate seeing stuff in the shop in August. And now I would pick up little bits and pieces and get myself organised if I see something that I know I need for somebody, I would pick it up. But I don't. I love the excitement in December. I love it. I can understand why people are doing it.
Yeah, I mean that's the point. It's we're stuck into a miserable November, and November's this level 5 is going to last the whole month. It's fairly dour. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do.
But I put up the Halloween decorations. The kids got into the Halloween costumes. I'm lucky that they live around the corner from their nanny, literally a couple of doors. So they did knock on their nanny's door. They didn't go trick-or-treating, but they got into the festive Halloween vibe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I assume they're coming down now, are they?
Well, they come down today, yeah, but I even noticed that my next-door neighbours had them down yesterday, and I was like, Jesus, only the first. Like, give it at least till the second, you know?
Okay, so you wouldn't believe the amount of people, Danielle, contacting us who put the tree up over the weekend.
I can only imagine. And look, fair play to them, but I'd be sick of looking at. I love the build-up of Christmas. And I do see Christmas as a month. Like, I see December and I love the whole build-up. I just couldn't do it from the beginning of November.
Even though you're a big Christmas fan?
I love Christmas, just couldn't do it. I'm one big child, but I couldn't look at it for that long. I would be afraid that I'd be sick of it. And I have 2 kids. And they'd be like, when is Santa coming? And I'm like, oh, not until another 2 months. They'd have a heart attack.
That's hilarious. All right, we'll stay there because Alison, I'm looking at a lovely photograph that you've sent in with a dog that's almost identical to mine. You have a Pomeranian dog, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the image of our dog, I have to tell you, Alison. And behind the dog, and I assume your son, is the Christmas tree.
It is. It's up over a week.
It's up over a week?
Yeah, I pulled the Halloween decorations down and put up the Christmas ones.
So you didn't even wait for Halloween?
No.
So, the Halloween decorations came down before Halloween even happened?
Yeah, they did.
Right.
The last few months have been so depressing, and I always put up my Christmas tree on the 1st of November, and I just wouldn't wait this year.
Because it's been such a miserable year.
Yeah, no, the older kids weren't too happy about it. They wouldn't even get up to the attic and take the stuff down for me.
Yeah, but can you blame them?
Yeah, but it's a difference in your sitting room and all. It's so much cosier and all.
Yeah, I know, and I hate November. It's one of my least favourite months of the whole year. I've never liked November, but will you not be fed up with the tree by the time Christmas comes around?
No, sure, I'd leave it up to March if I got away with it.
Oh, right. Now, will the tree not be in bits by the time Christmas comes around?
No.
No.
The place will probably be full of dust when it comes down, but no.
The dog won't wreck it, no?
No, the dog doesn't go near it.
Oh, right, okay. Happy as Larry. So would you be recommending, and like we said, it's been a miserable old year. We're stuck into this horrible level 5 thing for the whole month of November. Would you be recommending people put up their tree just to feel a little bit better?
Yeah, I think so. Now, come in. A lot of people don't usually put their tree up till around the 2nd or 3rd week in December.
But that'd be me.
I feel Christmas is nearly over by then.
So you're not going to do what you did with the Halloween decorations and take the tree down before Christmas?
Oh, Jesus, no.
No. When do you take it down? The 7th of January?
Yeah.
Right. So you will have your tree up now for a whole quarter of the year.
Is it?
Yeah, it will be. Yeah. Here, I've been asked to play this for you, Alison. This WhatsApp voice note. Have a listen.
Hi, Adrian. Lorraine here. There's 12 days of Christmas, and none of them are in November.
It's true, Alison.
Well, each to their own.
Each to their own and all that. And come here, what have the neighbours said?
They just all laugh. Sure, everybody puts up on social media, I'm surprised your tree is not up yet. And they weren't surprised when I put it up a week before the 4th of November. So.
Right, okay. But you would you think it makes like we heard from our first caller, Elaine, it makes you feel Christmassy, it makes you feel homely, and it takes away the winter blues and the COVID blues.
Yeah, now in fairness, I didn't put up my outdoor stuff last week. I tried to hide it a little bit.
Right, so when's that going up?
That'll go up now as soon as them brats get up to the attic and take them.
Oh, I love it. I'm gonna go home now to my missus today, and I'm gonna say let's put up the tree because everybody says it's great, and I know the reaction I'll get when I say it to her. Anyway, thanks, Alison. Let's have a listen to this from Robbie.
Morning, lads. Look, the way this year has been, do whatever makes you feel happy. If it means having an extra slice of pizza, have it. If it means putting up your Christmas tree, put it up in July. It doesn't matter. This year there's a whitewash anyway. Good luck.
Thanks, Rob. Sylvia.
Hey,
Hi,
Adrian.
Sylvia. How are you?
My tree is up since the 22nd of October.
So, well, hang on. Your tree went up on the 22nd of October.
Yeah, I live on my own and I don't see anybody, so I said, sure, I might as well put up my Christmas tree.
Now, I'm looking at the Christmas tree because you sent us in a photograph and it looks lovely. There's lots of silver and lots of red and and decorations around the whole house as well, or around it. Why the 22nd of November? What does it do for you having the tree up?
Well, it makes me happy because I live on my own. I don't see anybody. So I just said, put up my tree. I'll blend in with my decorations of my decor of my house.
Yeah.
Or I'll probably end up throwing her out the back after Christmas.
So would you recommend putting, well, obviously you would, 22nd of October. Okay, would you recommend people put up the tree now for the next few weeks, a little bit earlier than usual? Because
because everything is doom and gloom. You can't do this and you can't do that. So you might as well sit in front of your TV and look at the
Christmas tree. Brilliant! Right, I'm going to try. I'm going to get up the attic this afternoon and take the decorations down. But I know my missus will tell me to put them straight back up again. So
you'll get into the Christmas spirit when you get your Christmas tree out of your attic, Adrian.
Okay, right. I'll say it to her when I go home. Okay. Thanks, Sylvia. Bye. Barry has 3 trees up in his house.
How are you, Adrian? Just a quick one there now. I have not 1, not 2, but 3 Christmas trees up. All my decorations done since last Saturday. So when the kids were knocking at the door on Halloween night, I was greeting them by saying, ho, 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 Merry Christmas. Have a good day.
Brilliant. Gabby sent me this.
Morning, guys. I didn't put my Christmas tree yet and not planning anytime soon, just maybe 1 week before Christmas. But Michael Bublé CD is going to definitely play in my car from now on. Thanks.
Thanks very much indeed. Samantha.
Hi, Adrian. I just think putting up the Christmas tree now, I think it's a little bit too early. I mean, by the time Christmas rolls around, you'd be fecking sick of looking at it. Do you know, I just think the first week of December, yeah, that's fine. But, I mean, as you said yourself, we still have 7.5 weeks to wait. I mean, come on. By the time January comes around, you'd be fecking sick of them. Thanks, Adrian. Bye. Love the show.
Thank you, Samantha. John.
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, John. John, as I speak to you, you are putting up the Christmas tree right now.
Yes, after putting down all the Halloween decorations.
Okay, so Halloween's over. The Halloween decorations are gone, but the Christmas tree is going up.
Yes.
Now, I have to ask you, John, why? Why?
Well, with all the happenings, whatever happened throughout this year, why not have a good year ender?
Yeah, no, I kind of get that. It's been an awful year for all of us, and you reckon that the Christmas tree adds a bit of Christmas cheer, basically.
Yes, it helps. It helps a lot because it's a celebration. So at least you're celebrating something as well.
Okay, so it's to lift your spirits, lift your mood, and you reckon it'll have that effect, will it?
Yes, definitely.
Right.
And then we have birthday coming soon as well.
Have you children?
Yeah, I have.
And what's their reaction to the Christmas tree going up?
No, she's in school at the moment, so it'll be a surprise when she goes home.
Oh, right, okay, right. Good to talk to you, John. Enjoy putting up the tree.
Thanks very much, Adrian.
Bye-bye. I actually didn't think we'd get many people ringing us who've already put up their tree. Wasn't sold on it, but there you go. Let's just squeeze in a couple more WhatsApps. This is Bob. It is, yes,
Bob.
Bob.
Adrian, Bob here. As you can see, I sent in a picture of the Christmas tree I put up on Saturday before Halloween was even over. And some of the kids came to the door, looked in, looked at me and didn't know what was happening. But that's the way it goes. It'll cheer me up, bring a bit of brightness in through all this sadness. And happy Christmas, everybody.
Thank you, Bob. It is only the 2nd of November. Leona.
Do you know what, lads? Fair play to that woman putting her tree up now. Mine's going up in the next few weeks before the Thai show. When, I'm not sure, but it's definitely going up before December. Bye.
Thank you. Mandy?
Lads, you know what? I wasn't going to put it up till the end of the month, but yous are all making me Christmassy and stuff. I'm putting it up tomorrow. Happy Christmas.
98 FM's Dublin Talks, responsible for Christmas trees going up the length and breadth of the capital. And one more WhatsApp voice note from Stephen.
They're putting up Christmas trees in November. Head cases. When are they going to buy the Easter eggs? January?
It's only because of the year that's in it. It's only because of the year that's in it that people have decided to put up the Christmas tree. Because let's face it, November is a horrible month anyway. We have this horrible level 5 thing where we can't go anywhere, we can't do anything. And sure, why not? One last one from Lenny.
Hi Adrian, Leonard here. I absolutely love Christmas. I love the whole thing, the sparkle, the glitter, the whole environment. I absolutely adore it. Always did, always will. And you know, hey, if people want to put up their trees early, why not? I mean, it's all gloom and doom at the moment, so I think fair play to them. I've got a little small Christmas tree in my bedroom at the moment. I'll put up the big one though on the 1st of December in the main room. Cheers, bye.
Thanks, Leonard. And one final message. It is only acceptable to put the tree up when the Coca-Cola ad comes on the telly, says Rob. You're probably right, Rob. Anyway, there you go. And then one final message. November is a lovely month. What is wrong with you? You all need help. No. I hate November. I've always hated November. Anyway, thank you very much indeed for all of your messages. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks.
The sound of the city, from Furhouse to Finglas. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
I see some news just breaking. It's fairly big news as well. Hollywood actor Johnny Depp has lost his High Court libel action against the Sun newspaper over an article which labelled him a wife beater. He sued the newspaper over their 2018 article, which referred to overwhelming evidence that he attacked ex-wife Amber Heard during their relationship. And the judge says the claimant has not succeeded in his action for libel. So basically, the Sun is right to call him a wife beater. Anyway, there you go. That's just breaking news as we speak. Now, next on the programme, since the arrival of the COVID-19 coronavirus here in Ireland, there's been a lot of blame placed on the younger generation. We've heard things like, it's the young people who aren't taking it seriously. They're the ones organising house parties. They haven't made any sacrifices. They've just continued with life. They are the group responsible for the spread of the virus. These are all, claims that have been made over the last couple of months. And my question to you is, do you believe this to be true? Or do you believe that the younger generation have been unfairly treated and branded as COVID spreaders by the public? Do you think it is unfair that people in the 17 to 25 age group have been branded by many as COVID spreaders? Do you agree or disagree with the statement that young people are not and have never taken COVID seriously? I'd love to hear from you on 6797 981. You can text, you can WhatsApp, or you can send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. A survey of Irish college students has found that 69% of students declared that they have not ignored any government guidelines. 85% claim they haven't attended a house party during the pandemic, and they're a little bit annoyed. Do you believe that? Do you believe that 85% of young people haven't attended any house party at all during the pandemic? Well, this survey was conducted by an organisation called Generation Y, Ireland's only through-the-line youth marketing agency. And from that agency, I'm joined on the line by Hannah Quinn to tell us a little bit more about this survey. Hannah, let me begin by asking you, in what way do young people think that they've been treated unfairly throughout this whole COVID-19 crisis?
I think it means, like a lot of students nowadays, well, all of them mostly, are at home, online, with very little support from college in terms of tech devices, Wi-Fi support. A lot of people are in rural areas of Ireland that have very little signal to their colleges, and I think a lot of students from the survey felt like that they just weren't getting that support. It was very much just about the college fees and that kind of thing, and very little on mental health as well. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of people just didn't really feel that they're getting this, this full support from their college, when majority of college were kind of looking more so for their college fees and that kind of thing. Okay, now another interesting statistic is that 80% of young people believe that the Irish public have unfairly blamed young people for the rise in COVID-19 cases. That's a very high figure. It is. And I think, from doing my research on it as well, I think a lot of it is on social media. There was talk of, I know in Galway, that a crowd of college students to get together, and that caused a lot of uproar, But I think it's a small minority, and that are, doing kind of, group things. And when I was outside as well, but I think a lot of people students particularly feel blamed, we're all, during the summer, we're going to outdoor house parties, social distance, because we were allowed to do that. And I think now, the finger pointing is kind of on young people in Ireland, when it's not just young people, it's adults as well. But isn't it a statistical fact that over recent months, the spread of the virus has been mostly people under the age of 45 and under the age of 30? Yeah, but we were interviewing students that were from 17 to 24, so it's a big gap, because the 30 and 45, they'd be considered as adults, where we're kind of focused on college students and what they were doing, and a lot of them said that, they weren't ignoring government guidelines, and 85% said that they haven't gone to house parties this year because of COVID, so people are taking it seriously. Now, I know an awful lot of people, when they hear that statistic, probably won't believe it, that 85% of 17 to 24-year-olds have said they didn't attend any house party at all. Yeah, it was very honest, and only 7%, out of the 15% who did attend, 7% of them said that it was outdoors, social distance during the summer, and it was no more than 3 house parties. But it was about 5 or 6 people in the back garden, which we were all doing back then. So I feel like just from the survey that students were taking it and are taking it very seriously. And feel that they're being ignored, though? Is that the point of this survey, that they think that in terms of the advice that's been given, they're not being targeted properly? No, and as well in the survey, a lot of students felt like they need to be directly targeted in public health messaging, because a lot of people just feel like they're kind of put in the back burner, 79% feel that they feel undervalued living in Ireland during the COVID-19 crisis. They just feel like they're not being, I suppose, looked after or catered for in the right way. And I was interested to see, as a result of that 61% of students would actually consider emigrating. Yeah, I was surprised about that as well. It'll be interesting to see once this crisis is over, whenever that will be, what will the emigration rates be like? But yeah, it's a very shocking result. So the most interesting thing I take out of this survey is that young people feel that they've been ignored, that they're not being supported in the way in which other sections of society have been, and that includes the likes of having to do most of their college work online and all of that. Yeah, and because of that, it's affecting their mental health. You know what I mean? 77% of students said that, doing college at home has affected their mental health, which is, it's so big right now. And a lot of them said that they need more support from their college in terms of mental health services because they're just not getting them. And I think that thing we have to focus on now is just the mental health of students. Because they probably feel so vulnerable now. And in terms of being at home, like the Wi-Fi difficulties, distractions at home, that kind of thing. It all it builds up. And the social aspect, they don't have that now. Do you know what I mean? And particularly for first years, they need that social interaction. Because if they don't have that, it only increases their anxiety and their loneliness at home.
Okay, so what would you like to see the government doing in order to further support young people?
I feel like, like that college fees, they're massive at the moment for people sitting at home. I think it's ridiculous how much people have to pay for maybe college fees to be reduced. I know that the government did give €250 in the budget, but a lot of students in the survey said that just wasn't enough. I mean, a laptop costs way more than €250, but it's a stepping stone. I feel like for the colleges as well, if they could, when restrictions are lowered, if they could do outdoor social events, socially distance, for students to meet up and interact and just have a chat. You know what I mean? Or do a couple of people said drive-in cinemas where no one has to be in contact, but just have that social event so people feel like they're actually having the college experience.
All right, Hannah Quinn from Generation Y, thank you very much indeed for talking to us on 98 FM.
Thank you.
Now I'd like to hear from you on 6797 981. You can text, you can WhatsApp, or you can send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. I'd like to hear from you and find out whether or not you think it is fair that young people have gotten a lot of the blame for where we are now, for the fact that we are now back in level 5 because we had a huge increase in case numbers. A lot of the cases were young people, not just, people in their early 20s, but it was predominantly younger people who were catching and spreading the virus. Is it fair that they have been getting the blame? And they have been getting an awful lot of the blame over the last couple of weeks. Students say they haven't ignored guidelines. 85% say that they haven't attended any house parties. So I'd like to hear from you on 6797 981. Neil, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Neil?
Not too bad. Happy Monday. We are here again.
Indeed we are. What do you want to say on this, Neil?
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because if you look at numbers now, people are going to believe or not believe numbers. But if you look at numbers, that's what's happening. The median age dropped massively because young people were, and whatever the age range changes depending on what survey you read, which is also a problem. But it was mostly young people going out there, ignoring us. Which if I was younger, I'd be climbing up the walls if I was stuck in the house. So you can't understand that's what's happening. But now that we're locked down again, the number is rising again. It's going back to our older folk who are getting the end of it now. So that's what was happening. So the question is now, how do we stop it? Because young people really won't take... If we all remember when we were young, I'm nearly 40, I remember life was all about everything except real life. You know what I mean? It was, you protest all sorts of stuff. You're not worried about bills, mortgages, work, all that sort of stuff. You're just living your life because you're a kid. That's it. And that's not disrespectful to anyone who is young. You're just living your life. The problem is now normal is gone. Our new normal is we have to be a bit more educated on this whole thing. When I was young and we were all young, we didn't know anything because we were young. That's what growing up does. It helps us learn things. And, maybe education is key. Maybe, more, I guess we're getting into winter, so we can't get everyone outside. But, somehow finding ways of interaction that don't involve massive groups, because that's what's going to bring us to lockdown level 6, level 7, level 8 next year. You know what I mean? Okay, so you think, on the one hand, we can blame young people because they have been, and I don't care what this survey says, 85% didn't attend a house party. I don't believe that for 1 second. Honestly,
Yeah, but anyway, so on the one hand, yes, younger people have been spreading the virus, but you're basically saying that they're young. That's what young people do, and we can't be giving out about them.
Again, it is a tricky one because it's brand new. It's a brand new problem we're having. So we've got to think outside the box. When I replied to your post earlier on, people are just, overreacting as usual. So we need to take care of our young people, we need to take care of our old people, and we need to hope that everyone in the middle aren't acting stupid, which is not, you can't guarantee that either. But we have to find a way to keep young people educated, up to date, and also understand that they don't want to be stuck in the house all day. Nobody does. But, old people have less to do, without offending all the old people. Young people want to get out and see each other. So we've got to figure out a way of getting around this and making them understand that, if you're out and about, you're bringing this virus back to your mum, your dad, your brothers and your sisters. I know when you're, testosterone flying around you hate your parents, it doesn't really matter to you. But when you get older, you want them around. So it's up to everyone to take care of each other. And it was the young people who were spreading it. That's what the data says. Now the problem is our old people again. So we need to figure out how to take care of everybody. That's all. Now it's not easy for young people, not easy for old people, not easy for anyone. But we've got to be realistic and say, look, young people were a massive accelerator in spreading the virus. That's just a fact. That's just what it is. The reasoning behind it is X, Y, and Z. We all know that they want to get out and socialise, as we all used to want to do. The older you get, the less you like people, so it's easier to lock down in the house. But they want to go out, so we've got to figure out a way around this. Whether it's like they don't want to live on Zoom, but I don't know how it works. I don't know what TikTok is. I don't know if that can help. But there's a lot of things that we need to look at before moving forward into December the 1st. Everyone's going to run back out onto the streets again. And we've got to make sure everyone is aware of what's going on without forcing people to do things. I think if the government forces people to walk on the left side of the path, wear a mask, wear a wetsuit, whatever it is, everyone's just going to say no. So it's a matter of understanding the issue and navigating it.
All right, stay there for 1 second if you can, please, Neil. I'd like to hear from you on 6797 981. You can text, you can WhatsApp, you can send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. We're talking about young people, and they say they've been unfairly blamed for the spread of the virus over the last couple of months. Is it fair to be blaming them? We're back in just a moment.
The sound of the city, from Saggart to Sutton. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
And we're here until midday today. I want to do a very quick Dublin Talks WhatsApp poll. And here's the question that I want to ask you. As you know, who couldn't know? We are currently living with level 5 restrictions here in Ireland to get the rate of COVID-19 back down again. And touch wood and all that, indications are that it's starting to bear fruit. So that's all good news. But my question to you is, and I want you to WhatsApp the answer to this. We were down to practically 0 cases of COVID-19 during the summer months. We had less than 10 every day. Over the last couple of weeks, we've had over 1,000 the week before last, under 1,000 at present, but still an awful lot compared to what we did have. Do you blame young people for the spread of the virus? All I want you to do is just answer yes or no to 0877 98 98 98. As we've seen, the average person being infected with COVID-19 has been, I think the median age is 33. So that means an awful lot of people, a lot younger than that, have been not only getting the virus, but spreading the virus. Do you blame young people for spreading COVID-19 back to where we are now? Or do you think it is very unfair to totally blame young people? Send me a WhatsApp to 0877 98 98 98. Now, Leona, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Leona.
Hi, how are you?
You're in that age group.
I am.
And so is your sister.
She is.
And you've heard a lot of people over the last while blaming young people, saying it's their fault. They don't give a damn. They're out partying. They're out having a great time. spreading the virus and then bringing it home to their mammy or their granny. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I feel like some people, it's in every age group. So, like, I know, like, I'm in an estate and I know multiple of my neighbours were all partying in their back gardens and there was no young people involved. I myself went to small get-togethers. I wouldn't call them house parties. I would say a couple of my close friends. And we got together just purely to keep us sane. And we would have been around each other anyway. But my younger sister is 17. She, like, school would be her life. And when school got closed in March, she suffered terrible with social distancing and stuff. Like, she wasn't able to cope with not talking to her friends, anything like that. She actually went into a depression. We actually thought there was something wrong. But school would be her life, so, like, the only time she would see her friends would be in school. Like, I'd be out on a Saturday night and she'd be in studying on a Saturday night, and, like, everything was cut off for her. And I don't think anyone realises how much it is actually suffering people who wouldn't be that social as well. But I think everyone has a part to play in it. I think everyone has a little part of the blame, and I think everyone needs to be responsible for that.
Okay, so your sister has found this last 8 months particularly difficult.
Yeah.
And do you think that applies to many young people?
I do. I think, like, me and my sister would be polar opposites. I would be the kind of party animal. She would be the kind of the nerd of the family. And, like, I wasn't affected as much because I kind of got my social out of the way. Like, I was well up to date with my social by the time it happened. But, like, social was everything to her. Like, even going to school, talking to her friends for a couple of hours, that was everything for her. And, like, at the weekend, she wouldn't see her friends. So, like, it's the people that like the likes of schools and stuff would be their only part of social, of getting their social into them. Like, that would be the people that would be mostly affected. And I don't think that it's just young people to blame. I think everyone has a role to play in it.
In terms of you, you say you had small social gatherings at a time that we were allowed to. Have you restricted that now that we're in this level 5 thing?
Yeah, I have. So during, I think it was the summertime, like, I would have a small group of maybe 4 or 5 friends, and, like, we would just get together like we normally would. It wouldn't be a big house party, and we kind of kept doing that, kind of just to keep things a little bit normal. But now then, since it's gotten a bit more serious and it's happening again, the level 5, we've kind of stopped. So we just talk to each other on FaceTime and stuff. But like, that's the same kind of thing. But where my sister wouldn't be as social, she wouldn't be really kind for going to parties or anything. She's literally sitting at home in her room, just studying all the time, and she never leaves her room. And it's something that I think people are shifting the blame to young people, but it's not something that I think that we are to blame for. I think everyone has a part going out and spreading it, not doing what they're told.
All right, so it's unfair for young people to be getting the blame, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Let me go to Dave. You're on 98 FM. How are you, Dave?
The crack, Adrian.
Dave, there's even been radio ads about young people. They're to blame for the spread of this virus. Do you think it's fair?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, look, sure, we're all looking for a scapegoat that isn't us, aren't we? You know, to be fair, like, but like, they do share some of the blame, but we all share some of the blame. Like, not everybody is stuck to all the restrictions, you know? But, like, they didn't exactly do themselves any favours either when you see so many young people congregating outside that pub below in Galway, or that big crowd of them up in Grafton Street. You know, like, I don't blame them for that, but you also have to realise if people see something on social media, they're just going to say, oh, yeah, there you go, that's young people for you. They don't give a shit. So...
Yeah, and I was actually thinking about this earlier on, that a lot of the stuff that has spread on social media over the last couple of months has involved young people. And, you know, you think of the bar a couple of weeks ago, they were all young people, the stuff on Grafton Street, as you said, and down in Galway and everything else. But the argument against that is people in their 40s and 50s who are gathering in large groups just don't post it on social media. They're still doing it.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Like, I'd say there was as many people in their 20s, 30s and 40s at the Oliver Bandfest as there were, like, 18 and 19-year-olds, you know? But, like, my point as well would also be, young people aren't the only ones who are suffering. Like, in regards to having to pay full college fees and not having decent internet access to get your coursework done, I do really, my heart does go out to them. But if someone's sitting around complaining that, oh, I'm in college and I should be going out with my friends, my response to that would be pity about you. You know, like, we're all suffering. we're all going without seeing family members. You know, there's people out there who've had a worse time this year. There's people who've had their cancer treatment stuff. I have a brother with special needs. I haven't seen him since March. You know, there's people out there who have it a lot worse than you do. And I don't mean to sound cold and callous when I say this, but at least they're after learning one of life's many important lessons very young, that life isn't fair and life doesn't give a shit if you're having a bad time. You just need to pull your socks up and get on with it. It's not going to be like this forever.
No. Well, we hope. Yeah, but no, it's not going to be. It's not going to be. This will eventually end.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be bad by saying, there's people out there who have it worse off. But we all know ourselves, no matter how bad you have it, there's always someone out there that has it worse. And at the very least, at least they're still young. At least they're not an elderly person who might be in the last couple of years of their life stuck in a nursing home, not able to see their family. So I hope they kind of put that in perspective for themselves. They still have the rest of their lives, and I mean, if they're talking about emigrate. You're young, do it.
All right. Okay, Dave, thanks very much indeed. This is a WhatsApp voice note from Alan.
Hi, Alan here. I think it's unfair. The young people are always getting blamed on stuff. I'm in my 30s and I have a few friends which are very hypocrites. They'll say do this, do that. But when it doesn't suit them, they don't do it.
All right, Alan. Thanks very much indeed. Quick break. Back in a sec. It's 11 o'clock across Dublin. Good morning. This is Adrian Kennedy. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. And this is Laura with Monday's top headlines.
Thanks, Adrian. Good morning. Johnny Depp has lost his libel trial against the publishers of The Sun. He sued after the newspaper printed an article calling him a wife-beater, something he strenuously denied. A High Court judge in the UK has dismissed the Star's claim, saying what was in the article was substantially true. The Justice Minister says Leo Varadkar had no agenda for leaking a confidential doctor's agreement. Leo Varadkar has admitted he shared a version of the Irish Medical Organisation's contract deal with the rival group, but says he didn't break the law. The Taoiseach will face questions in the Dáil on the issue tomorrow. His cabinet colleague Helen McEntee says his motivation was appropriate, but his delivery wasn't. Clothes, takeaways and shoes are the most popular items being bought online. New research shows 47% of people say they're doing more shopping on the internet than they did before the pandemic. Almost 1 in 4 say they'll continue their online shopping trends when all of the COVID-19 restrictions are lifted. And now you're up to date on 98.
98 FM's Dublin Talks. Call 6797 981.
Now, Dermot, I'm going to come to you in just a second, but first, Jen, tell me about the way people in your social circle are behaving.
Now, I'm purely saying this is just me and my own personal experience, but a lot, and I mean the majority of friends that I have not been following guidelines. They have been having house parties. They've been going to house parties. They've been mixing in large groups for coffees and whatnot. Also, I do know a person who was notified as being a close contact and ignored the 14-day restrictions, wasn't going for a GP, wasn't going for a test, and just was going about their daily business. And all of these people are in my social circle in their 20s. And I've fallen out with a lot of people since lockdown.
Oh, have you?
I actually have a lot of people, yeah, and lockdown too. I've had arguments left, right and centre. I'm trying to learn to keep my opinions to myself, but sometimes it's very difficult.
And what are you arguing over? You say you've fallen out with people since the start of this pandemic because of their behaviour. What are you arguing about? What has annoyed you most?
Just like having dinner parties, having house parties. Still going away on weekends away with the boyfriends and Airbnbs. Like, it really pisses me off, and I have been finding it very difficult to bite my tongue, especially when you know people who have been cocooning, who literally have worn a mask since day one. Like my auntie and uncle, they barely leave their house. And like, it's just disrespect. It's just blatant disrespect, because if you haven't been affected by it directly, you don't care, and you just go out and about. And also, building sites. I live in town, and builders swanning in and out of the local spar, no masks. Like, like you could literally argue with a person every day about it, I find.
And it sounds like you would if you could. It's annoying you that much. So, okay, you're talking about people in their 20s just not giving a you-know-what, people that you know. And we've seen over the last couple of months how the virus has spread predominantly amongst young people. The average age has come way down from what it was earlier on in the pandemic. So is that because, in your opinion, that a lot of people in their 20s just don't care?
In my opinion, and based on my own experiences, I'd have to say yes. And also, their symptoms aren't as bad, so it's just like a cold. So it's even more reason, like, to prove. Like, I know their mind frame is, oh, there's so much hype about it. I got it, and I'm fine. It was just like a cold. That's great. That's well and good for you. You're in your peak of physical health. But if you pass that on to 50, 60, 70, 80-year-olds in Tesco's or your local Spar, that might not be the case. And it's just a respect. It's just a massive disrespect thing, I think. Have
things improved in terms of young people, from what you've seen, with us now being in this level 5 lockdown, although it's not a lockdown, do you think people are behaving a bit better, young people?
I don't think so, to be honest. Just going by, like, Instagram on the weekend, I'd have to say no.
Why? What did you see over the weekend?
Just the same. Oh, just come over, we'll just get a takeaway, but it's just 5 people, it's just 6 people, then a bottle of wine down, and then there's 10 people, 12 people, you know.
Even though the advice we've been given is not to have visitors into your home at all.
Absolutely, and maybe, like, I did hear there is people saying that the advice isn't directly directed at that specific age group, so maybe they need to
be targeted a bit more. Yeah, maybe so.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, Jen, thanks very much indeed. Dermot, you had an interesting conversation with a group of teenagers over the weekend.
I did indeed, Adrian. Yeah, it's just over the course of the walk. We would come across the same group of teenagers, a fairly large group of teenagers on a regular basis that congregate. And I said to them there on Saturday, I said, lads, you're going to have to at least spread out, you know, try and make some sort of social, a bit of a distance. But they were hemming and hawing about going, you know, moving away from each other at the start. So I said, look, I said, come here. I said, tell me what's going on. I said, like, you know about the corona. Oh, yeah, no, these are fairly well, what I class as fairly educated kids. Secondary students, not young kids now, secondary students. They're fairly clued in on the COVID. And the first thing that I got off them was, well, it's not as bad for us. I said, yeah. And what if you give it to somebody else that's older? Oh, well, like, I wouldn't be going to me nanny's place, or I wouldn't be going to old people and stuff like that. So they didn't understand, or they didn't care about how it's actually transmitted. And the second thing that I did take from them was that they are more concerned about sitting beside somebody that's outside of their group of friends in school and getting it.
Say that again.
They're more concerned about being in the classroom than they are about being outdoors.
Oh, right. So they're more worried where it comes to this virus about actually being at school.
Yeah, and I was saying to myself, when I first heard them first, you know, school, this, that, the other, like, not very few teenagers like school, if you know what I mean. But no, like, and the logic behind it was, well, we're hanging out with our friends. We know our friends. This is our social circle, be it 20 or 30. I'd be more scared about sitting in school with somebody who, beside somebody who I don't hang around with. You know, it'd be more concerned about getting it off of them.
But one of the biggest issues, and in fact we just heard it from that last caller, Jen, is young people have this notion in their heads that even if they get this virus, they're not going to be very sick, and therefore it's nothing really to be worried about.
And you know what? And I hate to say, Adrian, but it is, the statistics is there and it is true.
I know it's true. Yep. No, I know it is statistically
true. And unfortunately, like one of the callers said earlier on, like, you know, we were all young once, and, you know, the rules didn't apply to us. We'd still go out and do it. Now, I had this argument as well with a lad in work a couple of weeks back, and he was saying, like, you know, he tried to say that the teenagers that are out there are doing it are from a certain demographic because their parents don't care, right?
I don't know if that's true.
That's utter shit.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's rubbish, yeah.
You know, and these are, like I said, the kids that I'm talking to, fairly well educated, would come from respectable families, I assume. You know, I'm sure.
But the the message that they haven't really gotten, and this is what you picked up.
I beg to differ. They have got it. They have got the message.
No. They've gotten the message, all right, but
they don't care.
Is that what it is? They don't care. They don't care that they could bring it to their granny.
They don't care. That's the long and the short of it. Now, the people that I've encountered now will be the same group. The people, it's the same faces that you see, and they don't care. And that's the long and the short of it. They don't care. They're not stupid.
So is it fair then, and this brings us back to the start of the conversation, is it fair to be blaming young people for the spread of this virus?
You can't blame all young people.
No, obviously not all young people.
I'd say it's across, like when it comes to the house parties, when we say young people, there's very few 17 and 18-year-olds having house parties. You know, that's an older demographic that are doing that. So, you know, home renters or home owners, I think everybody has to share the responsibility, you know, for the transmission of COVID-19. But on a whole, from what I deal with and from the people that I see on a daily basis, with young people, the message is there. They know only too well, but they don't care. All right.
Brian, you believe it's very unfair to be blaming younger people for the spread of this virus?
Yeah, I think so, because I think it's a case of it's something that everybody has a responsibility for. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you were talking about the house parties there, and as the previous caller said, that's usually an older demographic, you know. And I was just thinking about there was another incident that happened over the weekend on the M3 where a rock was thrown down off a bridge and a truck driver was hit. And and immediately people were saying, the young people nowadays, you know, but it could have been any age that done that, you know what I mean? So it's just usually target that demographic.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it was a 50-year-old man throwing a rock off a bridge.
Yeah, well, that's true, though, but, you know, that's kind of thing. But I just think, you know, I kind of saying to myself, well, it's not all young people, right? They might have a certain part to play in it, but we all have a part to play in getting rid of this virus, so I think we all have to... the responsibility.
But when you hear somebody like Dermot who had conversations with teenagers over the weekend, they don't care. They just don't care.
Seemingly not. And like you said, with that crowd in Galway there last month or whatever, you know, in that case with the students there, you know, and I just think it just needs a balanced approach to the whole thing. You know,
all right.
That's the thing.
Okay, Brian, thank you. Chris, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Chris?
I'm good. Good morning to you.
Tell me what's going on with your teenage son at the moment.
He only told me yesterday. We just went for a walk with the dog, and I asked, "Are you happy to go back to school and everything?" He always was. He always was happy to see his friends and everyone. But the thing is, he said he's not happy anymore. Because the teenagers, especially he said the younger class, he's in the third class. The younger classes and older classes, simply the situation is they wear masks when the teachers are watching. And he is not happy about it.
Okay, so he believes... does he feel unsafe at school?
I'd say yes. He didn't say that, but I know him. I'd say he is worrying more about us as an adult, because an adult can get this quicker than he would get it, or he could spread it. If you know what I mean. He might be worrying about his younger sister. She's special needs, but she also goes to school. So he worries. He worries about it. He knows the situation, what's happening in the country. Like for a 14-year-old, he really reads the news and he knows what's going on, and he can find the balance of what is the news or what is the...
Okay, so for a young fella, he's well clued into what's going on, and his concern is, and in fact, we heard that from Dermot a couple of minutes ago about the group of teenagers that they were talking, or he was talking to, saying the same thing, that they would rather hang around with people they know than being in school with people that they don't hang around with.
Exactly. He only keeps to his close circle of friends. That's what he said. And they all wear masks all the time. And he was also saying that, his grandparents aren't living here in the country, but the other lads' grandparents, they do. And they always keep the distances. And I tell you, I have a greatest example. Every day or every second day when I drive back home, I'm passing by the house, okay? And I see this old couple, I'd say they are easily into their 80s. And the young lad maybe 18, maybe 20-year-old a grandson, he's standing outside the their gate to their house, and they are having a chat. They're talking every second day at least. I see them every second day at least, you know, and they always keep the distance. And that keeps going on since March, you know. This lad, I don't even know his name.
You think it's a little bit unfair that young people are getting the rap for this?
Not really unfair, but you can't judge them with, you know, you can't say all of them are the same. You can't say that. But most of them think, oh, Jesus, it won't happen to me until he really makes it happen.
Yeah, that's definitely the feeling we've gotten. And well, not just that it won't happen to me, but if it does happen to me, I'm not going to be very sick from it anyway. So,
but they don't know that. They don't know that. There was a really, really famous case in Czech Republic, I think, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, when the man, he was a fitness instructor, right? He died because of COVID, and he had no underlying conditions.
And there have been many examples of that.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, young people, teenagers and whatever, if they contract this virus, aren't going to be very sick. And that's just the reality of it. And they know that, and that's probably adding to the
but
problem.
there is not many of them I see. I live in County Kildare. I'm not talking about Dublin, right? And when I see young ones on the streets of Athy, right, I'd say 80% of them, or even more, are wearing the masks or some sort of a face covering. That's what I can say about Athy. So I can't blame them for everything. I would rather blame the older into their 20s because
rather than the teenagers.
Yes.
All right,
especially when I've seen the amount of people in the off license on Saturday.
All right, Chris, thanks very much indeed. Let me play a couple more WhatsApp voice notes just before we wrap this up. This is Michael.
It's not their job to worry about COVID, you know? What they have to worry about is the lack of education they've got, the lack of jobs that's going to be here in the future, and whatever follows after this COVID. Just they have an awful life ahead of them. So if they wanted to party and do whatever they wanted, let them, because they've enough trouble coming their way in later in life. Where older people, 10 years, 15 years down the line, they probably won't be here. They don't have to worry about it. Go on, have a good day.
All right, Michael, thanks very much indeed. This is Daniel.
Hi, Adrian. I feel that certain people are not taking responsibility. I know a person who works in a pharmaceutical company. I know her through a certain friend. While we were in level 3 and level 4, was increasingly out every second night. Fair play to her. But this is the same girl who works in a major pharmaceutical company.
Okay, interesting. Pauline sent me this.
Hi, Adrian. I don't think young people are to blame. They take a lot of stick for an awful lot of stuff, and it's easy to blame the younger ones. I mean, have a look in the shopping centres, in towns, people not wearing masks, people not obeying to social distance. I think the young ones are being blamed very wrong.
Okay. And finally, one last message. This is Rob.
Hi, Adrian. Bob here. Talking about the young people, I know there is a majority of them are doing their best, but even up to last night, I was in bed and I could hear them coming up the road. You know, after being partying and whatever they were doing, there was loads of them, and looked out the window and no masks on them, still drunk, falling around the place. So, I mean, I know they're saying that the young people are causing the trouble. A big majority of them do. They just have no respect. Thanks.
And that's what we've heard from a lot of people. Let me just play one final WhatsApp voice note. This is from Kevin.
Hey, Adrian. Just very annoyed at the moment. Obviously, we can't go to pubs or enjoy yourself. It's pretty much everyone is stranded. I'm 27. I'm doing what we're told to do. Then there's people who I know, 25, who I worked with, and they're going out to the country every weekend, and they're going out and they're having a great time, and I'm sat at home waiting for hopefully pubs to open again, and it's just so infuriating, and you can't even say anything to them because all you get told is mind your own business. So what's the solution? It's not going to get any better. People keep doing this. I understand people are pissed off. I'm pissed off, but it's the only way of getting rid of this thing, hopefully.
All right, Kev, thanks very much indeed for your message, and thank you, all of you. I think the majority of you think it is, excuse me, a little bit unfair to be blaming young people. Now, after the break, a woman who's been the victim of a robbery has a very personal plea to make after the break.
The sound of the city, from Sallynoggin to Swords. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
And we are here until midday today. There's an advert on the telly at the moment. It's been on for quite a while, and it's about house insurance, and it's after a house is broken into, and the guy's really shocked that his dad's heirloom watch has been stolen, and then the girlfriend walks in and she has it on her wrist and all is good, but the house was ransacked nonetheless. The reason I mentioned that is because for that person in that ad on that for that company, that watch was really what meant it all from the break-in, because it had sentimental value. Well, imagine something that you have in your possession that is very special to you and that reminds you, or is a keepsake from your child who's passed away as an infant, and it gets robbed from your house. Well, that's the story that I want to share with you next. I'm joined on the line by a lady called Grace. Grace, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Grace, firstly, thank you for talking to us.
Thank you for having me on.
You were the victim of a house break-in recently.
I was, yes.
And you had something robbed that is of no value to anybody, but is of total value to you, yes.
Yeah.
Tell me, firstly, about your little boy. Your little boy, Jordan, passed away a number of years ago.
Yeah, 23 years ago.
23 years ago.
Yeah.
And he died from sudden infant death syndrome, is that right?
Yeah, he was 6 weeks old.
Oh, how devastating. And obviously, you never get over something like that.
Never.
20-odd years later. But you had one particular little keepsake that you've had all these years, in the 23 years since you tragically lost Jordan. Tell me what that little keepsake was.
It was a bracelet with his name on the front of it, Jordan, and his date of birth on the back of it. And was everything to me, everything. And
so this was the little bracelet that they put on the child in the hospital, is that right?
No, it was a gold bracelet. I bought him.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, and I had it in the box with all the stuff in it, like all little, cards people gave me when he was born and when he died, and the clothes he died in, and just everything that I had belonging to him.
So did they rob the whole box?
No.
They just robbed the bracelet?
They took the bracelet out of the box.
Right, so this was a box of little keepsakes from Jordan, who passed away in 1997, and the only thing that they took out of the box was the gold bracelet.
The gold bracelet and my jewellery box. They took other bits of jewellery, so they did. They ransacked my house.
When did this happen, Grace?
This day, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And obviously getting over a house ransacking is difficult enough. It's an awful experience to know that your home has been invaded by somebody. But to have that very special bracelet from your little boy as your keepsake, to have that robbed is just vile, isn't it?
It's vile. Like, it's worth nothing to nobody. Absolutely, it's worth everything to me. I'm just devastated, heartbroken over it. Like, it's like someone put their hand in my chest. When I seen the discovered they're gone, it's like someone put their hand in my chest and ripped my heart out. Sorry for crying.
No, I don't blame you. Like we said, it's of no value to anybody. A little, small, little baby's gold bracelet.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason they broke into your house and whatever they might have robbed, this is the one thing that you're just saying, please, if you have, please give it back.
I am begging, I am pleading. If anybody knows anything, please give it back. Leave it somewhere. Bring in the guards and just say it's there. I'm sorry,
So describe this bracelet to me, Grace. It's a small little baby's gold little bracelet.
Bracelet, yeah. And Jordan's name is at the front of it, and his date of birth is in the back, inscribed in the back, the 25th of the 5th, 97.
And would it have any monetary value even?
No. It's value to me, not to anybody else.
And as a matter of interest, let me just find out about the robbery itself. It happened 2 weeks ago. When exactly?
This date was a weekend. When I came in the Monday morning, I was at Heart being away, and I walked in and I opened my front door, and I just looked and I looked at my partner and I just said, "Something's wrong."
God, yeah. And
so he came in front of me, and I was in shock going around the whole house. And then he said to me, "Look, they get into the kitchen window. They prized the kitchen window open." And then I was looking all around the rooms, and then I went into my own room. It was upside down. And then I had a walk-in wardrobe, and then I walked into it. My son's box was emptied all over, everywhere. And
now you live in Nuns Walk in Drogheda, is that right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so this robbery happened over the weekend of 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And what have the guards said? Have they said it?
The guards, they were up within minutes, and forensics. They took fingerprints and put it all come back, and there's nothing. They must have wore gloves. Like, I went around every shop, cash for gold shops 2 or 3 times. Even the guards went around, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Okay, so it hasn't shown up in places that it may show up.
Yeah.
So the bracelet itself, once again, is a small enough that it would fit on a baby's wrist. It's that tiny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that tiny, yeah.
And it's gold with the name Jordan on the front of it, and his date of birth, the 25th of the 5th, 1997, on the back of it.
Yeah.
But the tragedy of this whole story is that this was a bracelet that your little baby boy had, and he sadly passed away at 6 weeks old back in 1997.
Yeah. I'm like, it's worthless to no one. To me, it's everything. And I'm just pleading, if anybody out there knows who done it, or please just leave it back at my on my doorstep. Anywhere. Oh, I just want it back.
My heart is broken for you, Grace, I have to say. And like we said, this is something that means nothing to nobody.
Nothing.
Is of no value to anybody. Even the gold in it would be worth nothing, really.
Nothing.
But it means absolutely everything to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything to me. That's why I was sitting with my friend last night and I was looking at photographs of my child. Looking at him, wearing it. And please, I'm just pleading with people, anybody who knows anything, please to give it back.
This is really awful. So we're talking about a robbery that took place at your house at Nuns Walk in Drogheda, on the weekend before the 19th of October. So 2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
Did they rob much of their stuff?
They robbed rings and other bracelets and that. I still haven't gone through all my own everything in the house.
But it seems to me that none of that really bothers you. Well, obviously it bothers you, but
it
doesn't bother you as much as losing. Yeah. Okay, but if anybody has any information on where this bracelet is, it's somewhere. It ended up somewhere. please get in touch with the Gardaí in Drogheda, or if you robbed it from Grace's house, just leave it in an envelope again at the front door. Or contact us here at 98 FM and we'll put you in touch, because it's just such a sad story and so pathetic to think that somebody would... Actually, it's pathetic to think that somebody would even rob a child's bracelet in the first place, let alone one with such value to you. I want to just play this WhatsApp voice note, Grace. This is from Adrian.
I am so sad listening to this story. It is absolutely devastating. The saddest part about that is those horrible people who robbed that house would have seen all those little cards, would have known that that child had passed away. Absolutely disgraceful. They should hang their heads in shame. It's absolutely awful. Big hugs to that woman. She is so strong for coming on the radio.
Yep, and I agree 100%. You are extremely strong coming on the radio. Let me go to Maureen. You're on 98 FM. Maureen, I know your story is difficult as well.
Yeah, no, it's not. We weren't broken into, and my heart goes out to this woman because I could still cry now. I feel, I know exactly how she feels, and it's not the price of the bracelet. It's just the memory, and it's awful. We had cleared my father's house, and my brother had died a couple of months before that, and we were clearing the house, and these clearance guys came in, and they were to clear the house, and I had a trunk that was my grandfather's, and I had an old Fisher-Price farm that was my brother's. Now, my brother was older, but it was just a memory from childhood, I had very little stuff left because the housing authority had thrown all Liam's stuff away. And anyway, they ripped us off. They were supposed to clear the garage, and they didn't. But when I went back in to have a look, they'd taken the farmhouse, and it was just like, I can't explain it. It was like a kick in the teeth. It was just, it wasn't worth anything. It was years old, but I remembered him playing with it, and it was just a memory. And I don't know how you feel, but I'm sure you're heartbroken. Yeah. And I hope you get it back. I really hope you get it back. I'll never get mine back. I did text them and ask them to bring it back. I said, it's my brother's. He's gone. I need it.
Worth everything to you.
Yeah, I mean, what do I want a Fisher-Price farmhouse for? But it just...
It's memory.
You know what I mean? So I know exactly. I mean, your house was broken into, but I felt like they had disrespected him as well. It was awful. It's awful, and I know how you feel. And I really, really hope someone has a conscience and gives it back to you. And you might get lucky. I hope, you just might get lucky.
And that's obviously what we're pleading for as well, that somebody gets a conscience. This is of no monetary value to anybody. Even if you've traded it in a bloody Goldsmiths, they're going to give you nothing for it.
No.
That's the reality,
Hopefully, well, if you rob someone's house, do you have a conscience? But maybe they passed it on to someone else.
But
and maybe they have a conscience.
Baby. When they emptied that box, they would have seen
the child's name on it.
Yeah, and memorial cards.
Oh, no,
I had the clothes that he died in. I never washed them. They were still in that bag.
Yeah, I know how. Look, I'm going to say a prayer. I pray to God that someone out there,
thank you so much,
will listen and hear your story and give it back to you, because I totally understand. As I say, it's 2 years later and I could still cry over it. And it's not that I want a farmhouse. I'm sure you don't, you're not going to walk around with a bracelet. But it's just hold it to look at it.
Yeah.
Have a memory, and it's so, when you've lost someone that's so important, I have his house keys and I carry them around with me all the time.
Everywhere. Yeah.
And this is the point of this, that there are some things that are of sentimental value to people. And they can be the most strange things. I've a teapot at home, which was my grandmother's teapot, and the reason it's of sentimental value is she used it every single day. You know what I mean? It's only a bloody teapot. But Grace, do you have a photograph of the bracelet that we can share on social media?
I do.
I do, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll give you a shout back and we'll get that photograph from you. And we're going to share it widely on social media today.
Thank you so much.
With a view to trying to prick somebody's conscience that this bracelet is a bracelet that your little boy, Jordan, who sadly passed away at 6 weeks old, 23 years ago, and it's one of your keepsakes of your little boy, and like we said, it's of no monetary value, but it's of every value to you. Grace, we're going to give you a call back in a couple of minutes and get that photograph from you, and we will share that photograph far and wide on social media today. So once again, the robbery at your home took place at Nuns Walk in Drogheda 2 weekends ago, and if anybody knows anything about the bracelet or its location, please get in touch with
me or the guards or anyone. I just want it back.
Yeah. Let me have a look at let me have just a listen to this WhatsApp voice note from Claire.
Hi Adrian, just listening to Grace there. My heart is breaking for her. I just pray she will get her little bracelet back. Tugs out there, Adrian. God bless her. Claire.
All right, Claire. Thanks very much indeed. That's lovely.
Thank you very much, Claire.
We're going to get this bracelet back. I'm determined to get at somebody and get it back for you sooner rather than later. Grace.
Thank you so much.
I'm so sorry for like we said, to most of us, if we saw the bracelet, you wouldn't even look at it twice. But for you, it's everything. We will get it back. We will get it back. Grace, thank you for talking to me, and I wish you well. And we'll get that photograph off you, and we'll share it on social media today. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Isn't that awful? Let's just have a listen to one final WhatsApp from Carol.
I feel so sorry for her. I know how it feels to have somebody come into your home. My baby's box wasn't took. Thank God. God bless her. Hope she gets the little bracelet back.
And we do as well. Look out for that post on social media later on today. This is 98 FM.
The sound of the city from Ballybrack to Ballymun. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
And we're here until midday today. Our telephone number is 6797 981. Now, get out your phone and open up WhatsApp, because I want you to send me a WhatsApp message. Every single one of us has a story about ourselves that when we tell people, they actually don't believe it because it sounds so untrue. But it's actually 100% true. So I want to hear from you, and I have a reason for talking about this. I want to hear from you a story about you or something that you were involved in that sounds totally made up, but is actually 100% true. Call me right now on 6797981 or send me a WhatsApp to 0877 98 98 98. I want to tell you a little story. And this is a story that I was sharing with somebody over the last couple of days, and I was literally told, would you give it over? That's a load of rubbish. Okay? So here's the story. Back in the day, this was a fair while ago now, back in 1987 to be precise, I was fortunate to have gotten tickets to go to a filming of Top of the Pops in the BBC in London, in the studios of the BBC in London. Okay, so we were going to be in the audience of Top of the Pops at the BBC, which was brilliant. Very hard to get those tickets, and through a friend of a friend managed to get tickets to go to see Top of the Pops in the BBC. Brilliant, happy days. So there we were, waiting in the lobby of the BBC in Shepherd's Bush in London, and at that time you could smoke anywhere. And so, lo and behold, I'm smoking away, and this fella came over to me, and he said, sorry, mate, could I bum a cigarette off you? English bloke. And I said, no problem at all, as smokers do. And I gave him a smoke, and off he went. Off he went to have a cigarette. So, anyway, we're in the studios of the BBC, in the audience of Top of the Pops, and a brand new song has gone straight in at number one from an artist that nobody had ever heard of before. And this is the song. So this brand new artist goes straight in at number 1. And there he is on the stage, atop of the pops, singing Never Gonna Give You Up. And who was he? He was the fella I'd just given a cigarette to an hour beforehand. That's a true story. And anyone I ever tell that story to says, yeah, but you ever F off, it's a load of rubbish. That is a true story. That the night he first appeared on top of the pops, I gave him a smoke. So there. Yes. And I want to hear from you. I want you to tell me a story that most people, when you tell them, say, no, that's not true. But it is true. So that's a true story about that fella there. You know, y'all know the song. So there. Never going to give you up. I want you to share a story with me right now on 0877 98 98 98 of something that, when you tell people, they don't believe you. They think you're actually making it up. But you're not making it up. It's actually 100% true. Call me right now on 6797 981 or send me a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. And, okay, let's go to Ciara. So these are stories that is actually 100% true, but people don't believe you. Now, Ciara, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Ciara?
Morning, how are you, Adrian?
I'm good. Tell us about your story.
Okay, well, 11 years ago, I was about 31 weeks pregnant, and I was working as a nanny out in Rathout.
Mm-hmm.
And my partner at the time was working over in City West. And this particular morning, I had awful pain, and it kept getting worse and worse and worse. And by the time lunchtime came, I was in a bad way, and I was getting really scared. So I rang the dad of the kids and said, look, you're going to have to come home because there's something wrong here, something wrong with me. So he came home and took one look at me, knew I was in no fit state to drive. So he said, right, I'll bring you into the hospital, going to Holles Street.
Right.
So off we go, and we're going up the N3. And there's a big, huge, long traffic jam. I don't know what they were checking, whatever. Big, huge, long traffic jam. Guarded checkpoint. So next thing, without saying nothing to me, he goes up the hard shoulder, and you can see further on ahead there's a cop car in the hard shoulder. So he pulls up right behind the cop car, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And this Garda comes sauntering up to the car, kind of throwing the shapes, ready to give out hell. And my boss rolls down the window, didn't let the guard say anything, and said, she's in labour. And I'm like, what? I'm not in labour, what are you doing? So next thing, the guard starts jumping up and down, swinging his arms around, going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So he says, follow me, jumps into the car in front, okay? Now, the huge, long tailback. So jumps into the police car. We're right behind. We're weaving in and out of traffic. Everyone's beating at us, cursing us, following the guards. So follow them up to the little roundabout there at the halfway house.
Yep, I do.
Yeah. So it's a busy roundabout. It's very small. The next thing, the car in front stops on the roundabout. Okay?
Right.
He gets out of the car. Next thing, there's a second Garda car coming from Castleknock. The first guy jumps out of the car, comes around to the side to me, doesn't say a word to me, pulls me out of the car, throws my handbag at me, and throws me into the front seat of the second car.
Right.
And nobody's saying a word to me. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So then I go high speed, full chase speed in the second police car. How that didn't put me into labour, I do not know. It was the scariest experience of my life.
Right.
And he's there yapping away to me as if we were sitting over a cup of tea together. So we're racing into Holles Street. Meanwhile, while all this is going on, there's a third police car. So obviously I'm on the phone to my partner all morning telling him what's going on.
Mm.
So there was a point when he left work in City West and he's making his way into town to meet me. So he was the other side and he was coming he was stuck in traffic at Euston Station. Third police car, went over, found him in traffic, gave him police escort to Holles Street. And we all arrived at Holles Street Hospital at the same time. And then I went to get checked. There's like 3 guarded cars and my partner's car are just
That's brilliant.
jamming on the brakes outside the hospital.
That is brilliant. And when you tell people that story, they don't believe you.
No.
No. That's a great story, Ciara. Thanks very much indeed. And that's exactly what I'm looking for. Stories things that have happened in your life, that when you tell people, they don't believe you. Yeah? That's what we're talking about. Let's have a listen to this from Lisa.
Morning. I was in Paris with my friends and my sister and my aunt, and we were walking down the Champs-Elysees and coming out of Gap, thinking we were marvellous buying our shopping after spending the day in Disney. And we got into a taxi to go back to our hotel, and as the taxi was about to pull out, our taxi was surrounded by armed guards pointing their guns in towards us. There was about 6 other police cars that came down the side of the road. They had chased somebody who had robbed a bank or something. There was a major robbery, and they got the men who did it right beside our car, and they surrounded our car, but they arrested him, but they put him in a cylinder to stop him from moving his arms and legs and lay him on the ground. And then when it was all finished and they had him in the back of a van, they just dropped their guns and didn't look at us, didn't say, "You're okay, nothing to do with you." So it left us all very shaken in the back of the car. The worst part of it was I was with my aunt, and my aunt has 2 kids, and I hid behind her.
Brilliant. Colm, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Colm?
Not too bad, Adrian. How are you?
Now, Colm, we're talking about things that when you tell people these stories, they don't believe you, but they're actually 100% true.
Well, this is 100% true, but because I didn't get a photo and my boss did get with this particular person, everyone doesn't believe me.
Right.
I used to work in a discount store. It was an old discount store for tubs and tiles on the Long Mile Road there.
Yeah.
And one of the days when I was in walks Jeremy Irons, the actor.
Yeah.
And he turned around and my boss was like, "Do you know who that is and all that?" I was like, "Yeah, I know who he is now." But my boss goes, "Oh, can I get a picture? I'll give you the discount. I'll give you the tiles for free and all this." And he was Jeremy Irons. He's a really nice man. He was willing to pay for them and all. And he said, no, that's grand. So he ended up paying for them. But my boss got a photo with him. And when I tell everyone that Jeremy Irons actually came into a discount store, they were all like, no. Why would an actor like that go into a discount store? Like, it's unreal. So that's my story. But
nobody believes you because you don't have photographic proof.
Because I don't have photographic proof, because I just treated him like an ordinary man, that he was just like he was an actor, grand. I was talking away to him, perfectly honest and genuine most man that I've ever met, like as an actor and stuff like that. He was unreal.
That's a great story.
I didn't get a photo with him.
Yeah. And I don't have a photograph of Rick Astley either, but I know I was there, and I know I gave him a smoke, and I know he smoked it, and I know he went and he was on top of the pops, but nobody ever believes me. But it's a true story.
That's it.
It's a true story. Good to talk to you, Colm. Thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, Adrian.
Let me go to line 1. And who's on line 1? Susie, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Susie.
How you doing? How are you?
Susie, your mother had a picture on top of her TV for years.
For years and years, and my parents were separated when we were younger.
Right.
So we'd never seen a photograph of our father. So for years and years I thought this man was my father, and I brought the picture to school and showed my teachers and showed everybody.
Right.
And it must have been about 11 or 12, and watching the TV, and this man came on the TV, and I was screaming, going, "Oh my God, that's my dad!" And my mother had to break the news that no, that was James Bond and he's not your father. So that there is a photograph of my mum with Sean Connery,
right.
who passed away. But I believe
the irony of you telling this story today, and he passed away over the weekend.
Exactly. We've always known Sean Connery as our other dad. We've always called him our other dad.
That's amazing. So there was a photograph of your mum with Sean Connery.
Sure, on top of the TV. It was my mum's pride and joy, but she never, anytime we asked her, she never confirmed it, she never denied it. She used to just giggle. And we thought, so we were convinced that was our dad. And then to see him on the TV going, oh my God, that's him. He's famous. But no.
Well, if so, I send you my condolences on your dad's passing over the weekend.
Your other dad.
That's a great story. Brilliant story, Susie. Thanks very much indeed.
Thanks a million.
Jerry sent me... Karen. This is from Karen.
Adrian, years ago when we were kids, we were out playing on the road and the front door was open. My mum was in the kitchen on the phone, and... we live in a housing estate in Dublin, and randomly a sheep ran in through the front door, down the hall into the kitchen, saw my mum and turned on his heels and out the door again and up the road. And we all thought, we were all kids out on the road shouting, oh, a sheep on the road. But to this day, whenever I say anything that my husband kind of is sceptical about, he says, is this like the time the sheep ran into your house when you were a kid?
Very good. Lenny has a story about Michael Caine.
Hi Adrian, Leonard here. Great show as usual. We're talking now about the early 90s. I was living in London, working in Harrods in the men's casuals department, and one day I'm serving Michael Caine, the wife, and his daughter. At the time the girl was about 20. She wanted to buy this sweatshirt with a hood. I remember distinctly, it cost £99 at the time. Well, Michael Caine and the wife, they absolutely had a fit when they saw the price. There was a whole family type of bust up over the whole thing, but in the end they gave in. He came to the counter where I was, slapped the credit card on the counter. I served them and they left in an absolute humour. The two of them, the three of them, whatever, they were furious. I never got over it. £99 at the time. Okay, it was expensive, but not for him. Cheers, bye.
Thank you, David.
Adrian, I actually met your mother and father on a flight back from Lanzarote about 4 years ago. Nobody believes me about that. Such famous people.
God, you need to get out a bit more, David. And finally, Aoife, also about the late Sean Connery.
Good morning, guys. My dad sold a newspaper to Sean Connery years ago outside Pier Street Station, and that's his famous story, and no one believed him.
Nobody believes him. See, people don't believe it unless you have photographic proof, but you don't always have photographic proof. But these stories can be true, so they are. Anyway, yeah, it was a bit of a shock hearing about the passing of Sean Connery over the weekend. What a legend. Anyway, may he rest in peace. Now, that's it from us for today. Thank you very much indeed for spending part of your day with us, and hopefully you can do the same again tomorrow between 10 and 12. And if there's anything you want us to bring up on tomorrow's show, you can throw me an email right now to dublintalks@98fm.com. dublintalks@98fm.com if there's anything you'd like us to talk about on tomorrow's programme. Thank you for listening. Have a great Monday. I'll talk to you tomorrow morning at 10. Barry Dunn is on the way, and in the next hour he's got some great music lined up like these.
98 FM.